Okay, so when it comes to basketball, I am a baseball fan. I can handle football as well. I don't really. A fan means that I follow baseball. I don't. I just about maybe follow the results of football. I don't really care about it. Basketball, I wouldn't even watch a minute of it. I don't like the game. I don't like the showmanship that they show. They have all these things. I just don't like it. But why? Because I don't like basketball.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Yeah. Doesn't soccer
You're a fan of
boring?
basketball.
It doesn't interest me. These things don't interest me. You see other people who get very excited about these things, and they constantly talk about the players and this. And I'm standing on the side. I'm saying,
I do the same for baseball.
excuse me, I don't get it. And I say to myself, I just don't understand the excitement about this game, which is to me, I so could care less about it. Totally. I mean, just completely. The only time I get excited about basketball is if Boston is in it to beat Boston, because they're the same as the Red Sox. All about baseball. It's the same fans as the Red Sox. So.
How about ultra marathon runners? People don't understand that either. But the exhilaration, the excitement of that group of people when they're out there, it's fantastic.
But people don't watch runners.
Yes, they do.
They don't stand in a marathon and sort of watch the marathon. You can't watch it.
Of course you can.
You can stand on the edge of there and you watch them passing you, but you can't. But you can't watch them running. You can't watch a 2.5 hour or 5 hour, however long. You can't do that. That's not a spectator sport necessarily. A spectator sport is a sport that goes with leagues and goes with this. It means like nothing to me. So my intellect, I can understand how the thing works. It's like any other sport. It's a competition against other teams. I get it. But the understanding of how the game is to feeling for it, having the emotions for it, it's just nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I see they've been talking about this final thing, the Final Four thing, over this last couple of weeks. The kids and I was like, zero to me. The truth is, even talking baseball has become less of a. I just care that the Yankees should win. That's all. It doesn't bother. I don't care how. I don't care how. I just want them to win. When they win, I have a good day. When they lose, I have a stinking day. And especially when they lose to teams that they're not. That's right. They have to beat. So here you have intellect and here you have emotions. You could be intellectually involved. There's a lot of intellect involved in these sports and these leagues and the way things work and how they come and the players and the goings on. It's a whole world. Then there is the passion of it, this feeling of it. You want to be into it. You want to watch it. Those who are into these, they're very different kind of games. The game is not controlled by a clock, for example, in baseball. It is controlled by others. You have to work through the clock. And there's other factors involved. So in my mind, the best game is the baseball game. Why? Well, because there's no clock and because you don't have to worry about things. You just play the game, let the competition run. It can take 2 hours, 4 hours. How the pitcher is, how the hitter's feeling, the defense. There's a lot of details involved in every minute of the game. Somebody said yesterday, oh, baseball's too boring for me. Well, it's too boring for people who, in my mind, can't intellectually follow it. Because it's a thinking man's game. So from intellect to emotions, there is, they can't handle this. That's too boring. What do they like to watch? They like to watch somebody running, jumping, and pushing and throwing. That for them, that's excitement. All right. So people have different ways of adapting their intellect to the emotions. Sometimes there's a blockage. The womb isn't there. There is no womb for basketball in my body. I dislike it. I dislike the game. I don't care about any part of it. I don't like watching it. I don't like following it. It's zero interest to me. But millions of people are very passionate and happy, excited and talking. They're into it. They have a womb. producing what I think is total trash. It's, in my opinion, it's a dirty game because there's too much showmanship and people throw things and people wear the tattoos all over them. I feel that tattoos are too loud and just look at me, that kind of thing. I don't like it. I don't appreciate it. I think it's street. When I was a teacher and a kid said, "Shut up" in my class, out! Street talk. They would say upshot to me. Or some other way of saying it, but they would learn not to say it. I don't like street. Be a mensch. I think basketball is not a mensch. That's just my opinion, and very limited, obviously, and very minor, a very uncommon opinion. That's just but it's my opinion. So I don't have that room. It doesn't produce it for me. Doesn't do it for me. That's when you have an intellect and it doesn't produce emotions. I understand the game, I understand how it works, and my understanding of it is I don't get it. I don't get excited about it, I don't like it, I have no passion to it, I'm not going to produce. So when the Tanya talks about intellectual stimulation, so first we get excited intellectually, hey, you can do this, you can do that, and then you have this, you have trades, and you have this. Then you have passion, you feel about it, you want to watch it, you got to get home, quickly, the game is starting, I want to turn it on, I want a big screen, I want to see it in my face, this is where you have passion, emotions, feelings, you're into it. So some people don't have a room to produce that when it comes to God as well. That's what he's saying over here. There can be a disconnect when it comes to God. Dullness of the heart, a dullness of the mind. The people who are in pursuit of material and earthly pursuits have a tough time appreciating spirituality. If my life centers around making at least $500,000 a year, and it centers around living in the best house in the neighborhood, driving the best car. I have to have 3 cars to fill each hole of my garage, and to have every gadget, and make a party once every 2 months so everybody can see my house and the way I decorated it and the way I serve them foods from exotic places. Those people are pursuing earthly and material pursuits and trying to show people how earthly and materialistic they can be. That is their goal. So when I say to them, would you want to put on tefillin and experience a spiritual connection to God, these people may say, I don't have any time for spirituality. I'm busy running after my car and my house and my food. These people are very materialistic people. So they may understand it. They may not even understand, what do you want from me? What God? I'm busy. I have work to do. You guys are busy praying all day while I work all day. It's in Israel they say, oh, the religious guys, all they do is study all day while we go out and work and we go out to the army, which is total rubbish. It's factually incorrect and it's emotionally even worse. Not getting into that now. So timtum, there is a dullness, a stoppage, a break, a block in your mind. All right, a filled vessel. Continue page 54. The cause for absence is that the person is not receptive when he is a full vessel. The person who has to be a full vessel, in other words, you fill yourself up, the vessel can't contain anything. If you take a cup of water and you fill it all the way up, you can't let anything else in. So you filled yourself with other things, with other pursuits. He is a full vessel. For naturally, a full vessel cannot contain. Can't take anything in. 96. In order for a person to develop an interest in spirituality, he must first feel a sense of emptiness. In other words, that he is lacking in his spirituality. You have to realize that something is missing in my life. There's a spiritual void in my life I don't have. This feeling creates a vacuum-like urge that excites the person to fill that void and become interested in spirituality. This cannot be accomplished when a person is a full vessel. In other words, focused solely upon filling his own wishes and desires. Hence, the first meaning of barren presented here in divine service means that there is no womb, because the womb is full, or the womb isn't there. So, when a person wants to be able to appreciate Shabbos, for example, one has to understand Shabbos. What's Shabbos? Shabbos is a lack of something. What am I lacking that I need to fill? What void will it fill? And how do I create that feeling? Back to the text. When a person is a full vessel, in other words, completely occupied with his own personal wishes, he cannot feel spiritual emptiness. When you are filled with other matters, you can't fill yourself with those matters because you're filled. I have enough on my plate. Tonight I'm going to the show. Tomorrow I'm going to the play. The next day I'm going to shopping. The day after that I'm going to rest. I don't have any time for anything else. So then how are you going to want to put on food? You're not. All right, I'll do it today, but that's not going to change. It's not going to make a change. When you're standing there on Yom Kippur, you're sitting at the Seder, the contemplation has to be, okay, I get this, this celebration or this thought that I have to have, but I know that I need to connect to God somehow, and I'm not connected. How do I do that? All right, that's step one. Okay, so now I feel that there's something missing here. How do I connect? What's my connection? That takes thought, and that takes study. That's why we prepare ourselves before holidays. And the same thing with Passover. Liberation, hey, I don't feel I'm enslaved. So that's when the rabbi comes a week before and he says, you don't feel you're enslaved. Tell me, what time do you have to get up in the morning and why? Mm-hmm. And what time do you have to get home at night? What time do you have to go to bed at night in order to function the next day? Tell me how not enslaved you feel. And tell me what your boss tells you to do and not to do. Who's telling you things that you should or shouldn't do? Or the workers that work for you, you're enslaved to them. Because you have to control it. If you're not there, they can't do it, so therefore you can't leave. And so on and so forth. All of a sudden you realize that there's something missing in your life that needs to be replaced. That's the idea of bringing your intellect into the emotions. Okay? Whether with evil or with the holy, this is not necessarily because of the desires of his evil inclinations, an evil thing. People who are not spiritually excited, you can say, well, they're evil. No, it doesn't have to be from evil. The evil that seeks the forbidden, or even the wishes of the animal soul, that desires what is permissible. Either you want to do something which is not allowed to be done, or you don't have to do it, but you want to have that. You have to have that donut anyway. So you're allowed to eat it, but for although they are permissible, the desire for them is at least a demon of a Jewish nature. A demon of a Jewish nature means, look at the final column on the bottom in the footnotes, footnote 97. Demon of a Jewish nature. In Kabbalistic terminology, the evil inclination is called a demon because it lures the person away from serving God, like a demon sort of. Demon either catches you at night when you're not watching, or it makes something that might be exciting. I want to peek, I want to see. Once you put your head in there, you're in. Even when one desires to partake of something permissible, if the desire is without godly purpose, it emanates from the evil inclination and is considered a demon, albeit of a Jewish nature. Jewish nature means it's permissible. It's not treif. It's not kosher. It's just not for you. You shouldn't be having that right now. That donut is not necessary to stuff into your kishkas. It's only because I see it. You don't really need it. Well, maybe some donuts are better than others. Okay, so back into the text. But even with regard to the wishes of his godly soul, namely holy desires, if he is full of and involved with his personal desire, if a person is involved with personal matters constantly, convincing himself that he is capable of a specific divine service and therefore wants to engage in it particularly but not in another. I like Yom Kippur and I like Pesach, the two most difficult holidays of Judaism. That's what the most people follow them the most. Have you ever noticed that? Yom Kippur, the synagogue is most filled when it's a fast day, and it's a long day. And Passover, when you have to get rid of all the bread and everything, that's when everybody wakes up. Purim, when you're supposed to have fun and jump around, drink and eat and dance and everything,
And Shavuos.
not so common. And Shavuos, which only requires it's a holiday. Go eat cheesecake, pasta, eat what you want, where you want. You don't have to have a sukkah, you don't have to have anything. So somehow we choose some particular services and we say, oh, well, I'm good with that. I don't need any more. No, thank you. I don't need Shabbos. I don't need kosher. I don't need tefillin or mezuzah. I don't need any of that. So a person chooses, but I do Pesach. That's a must. So we choose when we choose certain things that we like to be involved with, but others that we maybe next time. I'm not observant anyway. So when a person does that, then he is a full vessel that cannot contain. In other words, he's not just talking about evil things. I want to steal. I want to steal, that's bad. Yeah, but I have this desire, I want that thing, and that person isn't watching, and it's $100, and I know what I can do with that. And I know, not watching it. We're not talking about a person who's doing evil. We're not even talking about a person who is disregarding spirituality. They like spiritual things, but only some things. That kind of a person is filled. I have it till here. Thank you. I'm in a safe and comfortable spot. I don't need to grow. I don't need to develop. He is incapable of grasping the truth within his mind for it to lead to intellectual excitement because he is so involved and enamored with other things. And then on page 56, we just learned the top paragraph. This is the second type of woman who is barren. Page 56. The second type of barren woman has a womb, yet does not give birth. She has all the faculties are there. The womb is fine, but she can't give birth for whatever reason. This refers to a person who has a womb with which to comprehend and become intellectually excited. That means it's not stuffed. It's not like there's a blockage, a dullness. It's there. But no emotions are born from this excitement to be revealed within the heart. It's just, they just say, oh, nice, it's cool. I like the way it looks. Then they go home and just don't do it. Or don't want to do it. And have no interest in it. It excitement in their mind. Looks great. Oh, that's for you. And they don't seem to take that intellectual excitement and apply it to the rest of themselves, to the emotions, to their bodies, to the way they are. And that could be the fault of the womb isn't inspired because there is no, because of the other partner that hasn't reached the egg, hasn't turned it on, hasn't turned on the oven. And how would that be translated into our service of God? That we will discuss next week. We know what a woman without a womb is, a man without a womb, a mind without a womb. But what is a person who has a womb and yet it doesn't translate into anything? And why does God say there won't be any barren women? And how does that help us in our service to God? For next week.
Thank you.